Welcome to this video. Today we are going to talk about achievement expectations of second grade, and the presenters of the topic are Alexa Valdivieso, Daniela Arita, and Dainer Gonzalez. Achievement expectations of second grade. The achievement expectations of second grade are divided into different blocks. The first block is oral language. Here, by the end of second grade, girls and boys should achieve the following expectations. Number 1. Develop social formulas of greeting, questioning, farewell, and treatment in daily exchanges in the presence of the interlocutor. Number 2. Differentiate between a conversation or dialogue between peers and with adults. Number 3. Dramatize a daily dialogue on the telephone or radio with couples and adults using social formulas and treatment formulas. Number 4. Identify similarities and differences between the dialogues in which the speakers are present and others in which they communicate through the telephone or radio telephone. Number 5. Formulate slogans and instructions about games and how to make a toy. Number 6. Develop games based on slogans and instructions and express their agreements and disagreements in their development. Number 7. Develop phonetic awareness and creativity through the recitation of poems, riddles, poems, tongue twisters, onomatopoeias, rounds, and lullabies. Number 8. Develop the ability to narrate fictions such as stories, fables, series, and children's films, and events or experiences of everyday life. Number 9. Discover the need to give accurate and sufficient information when making a description. And finally, number 10, express their opinions about the television programs of their preference and non-preference and support them.
Now, let's move on to the second block. But first, let's start with the reading section. By the end of second grade, girls and boys should: Number 1. Develop phonetics awareness from the identification of rhymes in the reading and recitation of poems, poems, and nursery rhymes. 2. Develop lexical awareness from the identification of words in the reading and recitation of poems, poems, and children's songs. Anticipate story, fable, comic strip, poem, and letters, and its content from textual indexes such as title, images, silhouettes, or text formats. Formulas of beginning and closing, greeting, and farewell. 4. Identify the sequence of stories, fable, comics, or comic strips. 5. Identify and describe characters and their relationship in puppets and marionettes, and in fables and stories read. 6. Develop their capacity for verbal and non-verbal expression, and their imagination from the dramatization of dialogues, stories, or everyday fables read. 7. Identify and use the cover and spine of the book, and their role in approaching books according to their needs and interests. 8. Find similarities and differences between image and writing. 9. Develop the notion of the attendance list and identify its function. Always continuing on the second block, now let's move on to the grading section. By the end of second grade, girls and boys should: Number 1. Know and write the name of their classmates. 2. Develop the imagination through the creation, recreation, and writing of poems, riddles, tongue twisters, stories, fables, and comics. 3. Develop strategies for the production of a text taking into account its context, for example, the subject and the recipient, and its structure, such as the planning, draft, revision, correction, and the final version. 4. Retell stories and fables that show a beginning, a middle, and an end from the title and illustrations. 5. Collectively write stories, fables, comics that show a beginning, a middle, and an end. 6. Identify the parts of the invitation and their function. 7. Write letters, personal and written, containing recipient, message, and sender. 8. Write letters, envelopes, and identify the role of the recipient and the return address. 9. Apply the image-text relationship in the interpretation and production of stories, fables, comics, and commercial labels. 10. Develop the social and personal function of writing. Amuse and entertain. Inform. Invite. Record. Remember. Communicate. Make your opinion known in the production of stories, fables, comics, invitations, lists, personal and readers' letters. 11. Develop awareness of the text for the interpretation and production of different types of text. 12. Develop the concept of a book and its parts, such as the cover, presentation, index, body of the book, and the page number, through the collective production of a book with your own creation.
The third block is reflection on the language. By the end of the second grade, girls and boys interpret and write daily and literary dialogues to be dramatized, indicating the intervention of the scripted speakers and their attitude with the question marks and admiration. Identify unit of mean sentence in their own text, read and infer their concept. Develop social formulas of greetings, questioning, farewells, and treatment in daily exchanges in the presence of the interlocutor. Graphically, delimit sentence with a capital letter and a period and capitalize proper's name. Identify inconsistencies in the written text and correct them, supported by the collective discussion and how it's said and how it's written. Use adjective in the description and the comma to separate series of adjectives. Identify accuracy as a basic feature of an instructional, for example, a game. Identify in written text, example, how to, words that name action, and use commas to separate series of verbs. Reflect and handle irregularities in the grapheme-phoneme correspondence. Develop phonetic awareness from the separation of words into their syllables and the identification of expressed and non-expressed syllables of words. Mark the tick to the words that required support by models. Identify common and proper nouns, adjectives, and verbs in the text of their own production and from books. Identify the change and meaning according to the position of the stressed syllables of words that are spelled the same. Infer what are synonyms and antonyms. and identify the permanence or change meaning of a text when some of its words are replaced by synonyms or antonyms. Activate their passive vocabulary and enrich with common and proper nouns, adjectives, verbs, synonyms, and antonyms from the production and interpretation of text, stories, fables, comics, game instructions, chapter description, etc. And the last one, identify, interpret, and use different traffic signs and warning icons.
To teach is to learn twice. Joseph Joubert. Thanks for watching our video, and thank you so much to our today presenters, Alexa Valdivieso, Deiner Gonzalez, and Daniela Arita.